What is up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of your Frederish podcast. My name's Gary, and how are you today? Hope you're doing just great. And today is a very special episode because I am going to talk about my personal history with, yeah, you guessed it right, the English language. How have I learned it? And to be more specifically, how can you learn it on your own? Because on your own, if you don't know the expression, means by yourself, alone, without any help, which was more or less how it happened to me, believe it or not. Okay, you curious to know how it went, how it happened? So stick with me, stick with us, and I'll tell you in about just a minute. All right, so when I say that I learn English on my own, by myself, alone, it means that when I say that, I mean I've never been to an English class before, okay? I didn't go to school to learn English, to a language school or institution or anything like that. It means that I studied pretty much on my own, okay? But that does not mean I would say that it would even be impossible to learn English. Not impossible, but close to impossible, almost impossible to learn English alone. Because inevitably you will learn it from someone or something, right? Be close, be that something close or someone close or distant. Okay. In my case, as I will detail further on, I learned through videos, through music, right? So that involves people, right? That involves people far away from you, but yet people, okay? So that's the basic point, right? Okay, so before I start talking about, let me just say something that is very, very, very important, okay? Fundamental for you understanding. Learning without having classes is a longer and harder way to do that. First of all, first fact, okay? Second, and even more important, it's not for everyone, okay? I don't have any means to judge what kind of student you are, but I would say that chances are that it's not a good idea to 99% of people out there, okay? Maybe in my case, it wasn't a good idea, okay? But it turned out just fine because as you can check here, I just learned reasonably good, right? I can speak reasonably well English. But it took me way longer than it would if I had gone to a language class. And why didn't I go to language classes back in the days when I was starting with my English journey? One, I didn't have money, okay? It wouldn't be impossible for me to ask my parents to pay for it, but I just didn't bother back then. Perhaps I should, I don't know, okay? But now I need to say something that probably is very clear for you who's been here with me since the beginning of the episodes here on podcast. I love learning foreign languages, okay? I love speaking English. I love learning new words, new expressions, new cultural events related to countries like Australia, England, Canada, United States, African countries, of course. I really love that, okay? Do I know everything or a lot about these countries, culturally speaking? Of course not. I know reasonably, a reasonable amount of things and facts, cultural, political, and etc. But enough for me to take, some walks, so to say, with people, and go on interesting, discussions, basically. Okay, so it's not for everyone. Okay, so don't just go like, hey, Gary has never, studied English officially, so will I. All right, if you really can handle it, if you really think and believe you can handle it, go for it, okay? But be careful, all right? And of course, if you're really in a hurry, perhaps you should get a teacher, just as I should, okay? There's this piece of information I didn't tell, okay, so far. I was not in a hurry, okay? I was 15, I was just going to school. I would work, but it was like some very, very easy, job. that didn't take much of my free time. Okay, so bottom line is I had available time. All right. Okay, so without further ado, let's just jump into the real thing. Okay, and start it off with the points I put in here to tell you how to learn English on your own. Okay, let's go. Okay, the first thing is something I've been saying here on the podcast since the very beginning, probably. That is, study every single day. Okay. Again, when I say study, and I did that disclaimer before. When I say study, I mean keep contact with the language. Keep the language on your radar. Okay, meaning learn new words, learn new things. Okay, maybe this is not the best way to say it, but hack some grammar things, grammar aspects. When I say hack, I mean decode. All right, meaning understand it to the best of your possibilities. Okay, that doesn't mean like learning terms. Okay, it is important learning terms in my opinion, but if your intention is not to become an English teacher in the future or work with the literature or something like that, that is not something that paramount, I would say. Okay, something imperative. All right, so you can just understand and decode the concept. All right, I'm not gonna say much about it, but I think you and I hope you have got the point. Okay, so be there for your English studies. All right, don't just think that you learn like twice a week or 3 times a week, it will cut it. It won't. Okay, unless you're a genius, unless you're someone with a extraordinary memory and power of retention of information, it won't happen. Okay, it simply won't happen. You have to do that every single day. I like to say like 10 minutes is better than nothing. Yes, and it's true. Okay, but if you want to just go on this path like that, learning on your own, learning by yourself, do that with at least 1 hour every day. Okay, and you tell me, oh my god, I don't have 1 hour available, so perhaps this is not the way you should go. I told you in the very beginning of this episode that this is not a way that everyone can go on. Okay, can pass through. Okay, but yeah, maybe you have 1 hour available. Okay, today things are much easier and accessible than they were back in the days when I started learning English. I'm talking about 2007, 2006. All right, there was YouTube, yeah, but I would have to go to a cyber cafe, pay for 30 minutes. That would pass as fast as 1 second, if you know what I mean, or even 1 hour. That would take a little longer, like 2 seconds. But that was the best I could do. Of course, I would just showing my telling you my personal thing, my personal strategy. Back in the days, I would never, after these 30 minutes, 1 hour time at the cyber cafe, I would never return home empty hand. Okay, I would print some lyrics of songs I love and already loved back then, and still love today, like Green Day, Blink-182, you name it. And I would just practice the lyrics. Okay, I would just play the songs in my house and listen to them, sing them out loud. I love singing, guys. You guys probably know that. And practicing, learning, translating, learning new words. I would have a dictionary close to my hand. Okay, I didn't have Google, okay, like you guys have today, like I have today, but I would have a dictionary. In some cases, just out of curiosity, the words were not present. Okay, some days I would just write a word down on a notebook or something to until I could go to the cyber cafe and Google, all right? Because I didn't have a computer and internet at home, just like most people back in the days, 2006, 2007, okay? So it is accessible. My point here is it is accessible today to get exposed to the language every day, okay? I believe if you're listening to this podcast and you're understanding what I'm saying, you've probably already passed this point, okay? But even for you, okay, intermediate level, don't just lower your guard, okay? Because you can step back, if you know what I mean, okay? You can lose what you've gained so far. So, studying every day, this is very important. This is paramount. This is key, fundamental thing to, evolve, to keep progressing. All right? Well, I forgot saying one thing that I also judge indispensable. That is, have a structure material. Okay, what do I mean by structural material? Book. Okay, choose a book that teaches English, of course, an English learning book, just so you can have a structure, a grammatical structure, okay? In my case, I have a very, very simple book that I would show in a video, if that was a video, but it's not. Very, very simple. It's a book without, many details that was made for students in the elementary school to study, okay? So in other words, it just contained the most basic of the most basic structure for, English. I'll try to go through it quickly here so you can picture it. To be verb, okay? Past, future, how things go in the past, how to talk past, how to talk in the future. Plurals, articles, okay, the, etc. What more did it have? Irregular and irregular verbs, of course, that is comprised in the past tense section. But yeah, let me tell you, I still have this book. I keep it with lots of respect to this material. But the key point here, it is a very simple one, okay? So what I'm trying to say here is that it doesn't have to be a complex book. Actually, the way around, okay? The other way around, sorry. The simpler, the better here, okay? The book that I'm talking about has the English session, okay? It's a kind of a large book, but not so large. The letters aren't so small, so there isn't much information. That's what I'm trying to say. But that has like 15 pages, okay? So I started off with 15 pages, okay? And as I'm telling you guys, I'm no special, all right? I just believe, and I close this off for this part, that you have to have a good structure of the grammar, okay? Otherwise, it might not be possible for you to move on, okay? And in this point here, I don't think that internet helps a lot, because on internet, you can find pieces of information, separate pieces of information, okay? But when I say book here, I say I treasure here, basically I judge important here the sequence, that some English teacher put them together in the sequence, in a good sequence, okay? Not all books are go the same way, from the basic level to going from the basic to the pre-intermediate, basic, so to say. But at least there was a professional person, a teacher, professor, who's planned on it, who's planned it out, okay? Who's brought the key elements, okay, starting off with the verb, the to be verb, and then the articles, and then the tenses, and put them together and compile them to someone to learn from it, okay? So that's why I'm saying choose a book so you can have this quote unquote skeleton of the language, and then the rest I will be more more in details about it in the upcoming topics. Okay. So the next part is expose yourself to the language, to the culture, to the countries, especially if you're planning to move or to go to a country. That's why you're learning English. Say, for example, you're planning an interchange in America. Okay, so it is interesting for you to learn cultural aspects, and so you can make friends, so you can talk to people, so you can interact with people, and have a good time first of all. Okay, so make sure you get exposed to music, to movies. Oh, I don't like music. Come on. If you don't like movie, you already, well, with all due respect, you've already got a problem. Like you should again respectfully solve it. Okay. I'm not saying listen to this or that type of music. No, I'm saying listen to music. Okay. And of course, here I mean music with lyrics. Okay, people singing in English. All right, be that pop, be that rock, be that hip hop, you name it. Okay, but do that. Okay, do that every day, more than once a day, because it's something that there's no excuse to do it once a day. I'll play one song per day. Okay, better than nothing, but still not sufficient, if you know what I mean. Also, movies. Okay, which is a little harder to do, watch movies every day, but at least parts of the movie or one movie per day. Okay, do that as a studying thing. All right. Of course, if you love watching movies just like me, you will continue watching them, but also you can have fun and study at the same time. See how awesome this is? Yeah, I thought you would agree to me. Anyways, as I said, cultural aspects. Try to get information about the country you live, you plan to live or to go or to learn the language that is spoken in this country, the way it is spoken in this country, historical facts. All of these things will make you start speaking their language inevitably. Okay, if you do that, if you do it every day, and if you do it the right way, you will start speaking. That's a consequence. Okay, that's a consequence. There's no way you can just keep having contact with the language, speaking every day, listening to people telling interesting, funny, smart things, dumb things, why not, every day, and you won't go to bed with these words buzzing in your mind in a good sense. Okay, so that's the other topic I want to tell you. Okay, so now you have a basic grasp of the language. Say you're at a A2, that is a pre-intermediate, or maybe even an intermediate if you've been doing that for longer than the what I would judge okay to start doing this thing I'm about to tell you. Okay, so you've already got a grasp of the language. You know how things go, how things don't go. You have already got a interesting knowledge of the culture of these countries and everything. All right, music, movies, pop culture, facts. All right, what do? You gotta talk to someone, right? So my next tip here is find friends to talk to you. Okay, and you don't tell me like, hey, I don't have any American friends or any English friends. No, if you do have American or English friends, great, perfect, you're a lucky one. No, I'm talking about Brazilians like yourself who know English, no matter how good their English is, or are learning English just like yourself. Okay, the only impediment here is that they know like basic level. They cannot hold a conversation in English for longer than a minute. Okay, then there's nothing you can do. But if this person can hold a conversation for more than a minute, this is a perfect way for you to practice. You will meet this friend, you will talk. Okay, if he or she resists and goes like, hey, I'm not so comfortable, I am a shy person, you just go and say, so am I, even if you're not. It's a white lie. and you just convince him or her that, oh, it's for your own good too. You will evolve. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to learn with you. Okay, be that. This is something very important to say. Treat yourself always as a learner. Okay, as an apprentice. Okay, I do that to the present moment. If you want me to be 100% honest, why shouldn't you? Don't treat yourself as a genius, even if you are, or if you suspect you are. Don't do that, because that will only generate, pointless pride, and scare people away. Because the idea here is having friends around you to talk to you, to teach you, and preferably if they know the same you do, if you're, the same, they're at the same level of learning, of mastering English, or if they know a little bit more. Okay, if they know much more, all right, good. But perhaps these people who know much more than you do won't be so much interested in talking to you. Maybe they will, who knows. You go out there, talk to these people, and come back here and tell me. Okay, so we can finish this. My last 2 tips are travel if possible, okay, and speak every day. Okay, if you travel, when I say travel, I mean to an English-speaking country, you will, okay, have all the chances to speak all the time, every day, with people. Make sure you don't get too much. Here a personal word of advice: make sure you don't get surrounded by Brazilians all the time, okay? Because yes, it will be a hell of a good experience, because we Brazilians rock, okay? We are good. We're throwing barbecue and singing Bruno Marrone, and that's cool. But what can it do for your English? Yeah, not much. Okay, so be careful. Have Brazilian friends, of course, that's not a problem, but make sure you have your fair share of gringo friends, if you know what I mean. Okay, and speak every day. Here, if not possible for you to travel, here in Brazil, speak every day. Today more than ever, you can meet people online with the due precautions, of course, right? Not exchanging information or personal information, because you never know who's on the other end of the computer, right? But through social medias, being extremely careful, having common sense, lots of common sense, and being at least regularly intelligent, regularly smart, you can get to meet people, make friends, and even maybe when you go travel, when you travel to these countries, you will already have friends there, which I didn't. Okay, and I wish I had. I wish I had friends in the countries I went to. That would have made things much easier to me. Okay, in all senses. But that's it, guys. Without any more, detailed information, because the time's not serving us well. 20 minutes have passed so fast, but it's been just as usual, a big pleasure talking to you. I really hope you enjoy this content and this added value to your life. And I, just as usual, hope and wait for you on the next one. All right? Thank you so very much. See you there. Bye-bye.